Ooh, woodcutting level 57. Ooh, I can now make a paddle and walk a canoe. Waka waka, a little Pac-Man canoe. God damn me for saying Pac-Man canoe. Sorry. It was uncalled for. Damn it. Alright, anyway. We're not doing the clue right now. Normally I would stop it. However, I'm specifically wanted woodcutting. I'm in 25th place. I wanna be like top 10. But top 10, I mean, I don't know, I know top 5 is, top 3 is very, very contested. The top 5 would be, top 10 is not far out of bounds. Because I don't play every, full time, no. I could play every day, but like, work too. Heavily. We're dropping. Why are we dropping? Back. There was a little bit of lag there. And the reason there was lag, internet kind of, like randomly. This. Oh, hot. Air circulation up. Yeah. I don't know why he gets some air circulation up in this biatch. It's fucking funny to me. Now alone here. People that were cutting wood with me left. Backed up. They must be in their logs too, because they, I mean, they might realize that it's worth a lot. I'm starting to realize this isn't actually. I did the math wrong first time I did. Like 100k for an hour of cutting off at this rate. Yeah, because each log is worth half 1,000. So 100 logs is worth 100 halves of 1,000. 200 logs per hour, for instance, would be worth 100,000. Make more money breaking rocks. Maybe not more money per hour. I was breaking rocks for a while. Get very much mithril ore. But maybe if I went specifically for mithril ore, I know a spot that's never crowded. South, the Lumbridge mines. But even then, and then walk up to Draenor village to bank it, and then walk back. Not far at all. 27 per trip. Like 20 trips. I could time how long it takes me to make 20 trips of that. Yeah. I mean, like, every inventory of mithril that I grab there would be an inventory of mithril that I could smith. So it'd be immediately transactionary. Like, I could just add it. It would be able to be valued in pretty easily, I would think, to my equation. How much you can make mining mithril. I think mithril mining is a pretty good way to make money right now. I think if you mine the coal, however you want to do it, I recommend motherlode mine because you'll whatever's. You'll make a little money while you're mining the gold, make a little extra side money, and end up with a pile of gold to stockpile until it hopefully shoots up in price again, because right now it's worth garbage, but anyway, hopefully it shoots up in price again. Somehow I'm here cutting wood, and yet I'm thinking about mining. Yes. Crushing those is not worth it. But it's oh hey. Take that partake in. That means 952. See, imagine what your RuneScape character does with that one. Just out. Here you go. You know. Because he's a fucking weirdo that would do something like that. Or she. Or she's a fucking weirdo that would do something like they are a fucking weirdo that would do something like. Canonically, like just the RuneScape character in general, would get handed something like this, go, probably just drink this. Like hold the lid down so it doesn't hit them in the face. After, of course, it hits them in the face the first time. They learn from the first time they do it. I'm very dismissive of these thoughts, usually, and I usually don't share them. So you're welcome for this rare experience you're getting now. About this time my brain's like, okay, getting kinda bored, what are we doing here? But it's not that I'm getting bored of the game, it's that I'm getting bored of only doing one thing. I like to multitask apparently, and I'm very bad at it. I get distracted very easily. It's like I have a one-track mind that likes to multitask. How does that work? How do you do it? What it is I have a one-track mind that likes to switch thoughts, like likes to run many trains. That came out wrong. Why did the thought that just crossed my mind, and I swear to God, train departing Houston 40 miles per hour, was the thought I was starting to go into a made-up math problem. Like, I was starting to make up a math problem. Why was I starting to make up a math problem about trains? Well, that's just the way my brain works. What if you subtracted every time that it repeated on his... I'm sorry. I thought that trained that... I've been thinking about fucking Collatz Conundrum again. Collatz conjecture. It's more like Collatz Conundrum at this point. Because that's all it is for everybody, is a conundrum other than... I mean... I'm trying to figure out now how to demonstrate the proof that it's true. Because I now have the numbers. I just don't know how to show it to anybody else. Because I'm bad at that. I've had situations like this occur before, where I've been able to explain a math problem. Like, I've been able to answer a math problem on the spot. Couldn't tell you how I did it, because I'm just very bad at explaining how I did it in my head. Kind of. This one I didn't do it in my head. I spent countless hours. I've probably I've spent days on this. Days, weeks. Honestly, I've been working on it for a couple of years. But like, I've spent days on end on it. Just jotting down numbers in a notebook. Trying to wrap my head around Collatz Conundrum. To where I don't want to bother explaining it to everybody who ever asks Collatz Conundrum. The theory states that you have a positive integer and it is odd. You take it, multiply it by 3, and add 1. If you have a positive integer and it is even, you divide it by 2. And then you take the answer to that first equation and plug it in as step 2, where you repeat the same equation, but with the answer of the first one to get the second variable. And so, therefore, for instance, if you start with 1, you get 4. And then you take 4, plug it in, and so if you start with 4, you get 2. And then you continue on, and so on and so forth. So if you take 2 and you plug it in, come back, and you're at 1. And 1 leads to 4, and 4 leads to 2. 2 leads to 1. And that's interesting in itself. Now, the theory is that you can do that with any positive integer, and it will always cycle back to going 4, 2, 1. Every single time. That's the theory. And it's like, okay, so you try with 3. You go, okay, 3. Alright, so 3 is odd. So multiplied by 3 plus 1. 10. 10 is even, so you cut that in half. 5. 5 is odd. Multiplied by 3 plus 1. 16. 16 is even. Cut it in half. 8. 8 is even. Cut it in half. 4. Wow. 2. Hey. 1. 4. 2. 1. What do you know? Well, you know, we already know 5 is included in that. So we can say that 5 goes 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So now we know 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'll do it. And we're gonna, okay, so what's 6 do? Goes to 3. Okay, well, done. 6 is checked. 7. 7 gets a little wild. 7 goes something like 22, 11, 22, 11, 34, 17. 7 goes 17, which is funny. 17. What is 7? My brain hurts on that one. Every single time. 34, 52, 26, 13, 40, 20, 10, 5. Here we go again. So on and so forth. You hit number 27 though, when you try it with 27, well, let me just save you the trouble. Don't. Because that's a really hard one. You're gonna hit almost, not quite, but almost 10,000 as you climb. You're gonna climb and climb and climb till you hit 10,000, almost 10,000, 9,000, and you'll eventually peak at, and then it starts going back down again. No other number is far and above as interesting as 27 is in Collatz Conundrum. Just because of how many times it does manage to snake through that loop, in and out. The next, I think, probably would be next mildly interesting number might be 3 to the 27th power. I don't know what 3 to the 27th power is off the top of my head, and I did not do 3 to the 27th power yet, but I might run Collatz conjecture with 3 to the 27th power and see what happens. Just because the reason that it happens with 27 is because you're basically turning 3 cubed into 3 to the 4th power, and then adding 1 is why it becomes so suddenly interesting with 27, I think. But then numbers beyond that do go, I mean, 27 includes a lot of numbers beyond that, so they'll follow the trail of 27 up into the 10,000s that did it. Because 27 has 111 steps that it takes to get through Collatz conjecture. Whereas up until that point, nothing had over, like, nothing had nearly that much. Then nearly 111 steps before 27. That's the point. So, the roundabout is, no matter what, there is a pattern in this, actually, more or less. And it involves thinking about the placement of the digits. And Sudoku helped me with this. There are only so many digits that exist. 0 to 9. Those 10. And no matter what you do, or how big you make the tens, the hundreds, the thousands position, there are only so many ways the digit in the ones position is gonna cycle in that conjecture. To the point where, I mean, if I reversed it, I could, if I was capable of reversing my thinking on it. I'm not a mathematician. You could turn it around and probably send it back the other way, I would imagine. Besides the point, though. I mean, to check, you could turn it around and send it back the other way. 4 will always lead to a lower number. Okay, any number, and I'll start with 4 because I like do 4, and then I'll do 2, and then I'll do 1, and then I will start more complex things. 4 always leads to a lower digit with a 2 in the ones position. 2 always leads to a lower digit with a 1 in the ones position. Always. Every single time you hit those numbers. Similarly, all the numbers are like that. 8 always ends up. The only even number that's not like that is consequently 0. Because it's the only one that's not actually a positive integer. So it's the only one that's not counted in Collatz equation individually. But it is counted in Collatz equation when it is in a pair. And it's in the ones position with something else in the tens position. Other than 0. Because you can't, I mean, 0 is not a positive integer. It's about positive integers. If it was about real numbers, solved. Say 0, you're done. Because 0 files into that equation as an even number, 0 divided by 2. Okay? 0. Done. doesn't fall into the cycle. You can even times it by 3, but if you do times it by 3 and add 1 and pretend 0 is an odd number, it does fall into this cycle, oddly enough. But it is the only time that it would be odd twice in a row, is if you pretended 0 is odd. So that's the point. 0 is funny. Because 0, it changes, it doesn't ever change the parity. It always goes lower, no matter what, and that's what's important, because that's what people get confused about the 0, because they're like, oh, 0 changes the parity. No, 0 doesn't change the parity of the line. But 0 does change wildly, depending on how it appears, because if 0 appears with a 1, if 0 appears with an odd number in the tens position, then 0 translates to a 5. But if 0 appears with an even number in the tens position, 0 translates to a 0 again. And then 0 translates to 5. That's not necessarily the case if that even number is 8, in which case it goes 0, 0, 0, and then 0 translates into 5. And that is the highest it can go. Well, is it? Because I mean, I guess technically, I mean, the more zeros you have, the more you cut back till it translates to 5, basically. Once you hit that 0 number, you can start cutting back quite a ways. Eventually, your transitions to a 5. For instance, 100, 50, 25, 1000 goes. 1000 cuts back to 500, cuts back to 250, cuts to 125. So on and so forth. Yeah. Zero will always translate to 5. So let's go through the digits. I said 4 goes to 2 to 1, 0 goes to 0 or 5, switches randomly around. It doesn't switch randomly around. I'm sorry. Switches very predictably around, because it depends on the digit in the tens location. That's all it depends on. No other digits matter. So now no other digits matter. Well, I mean, obviously they all matter, but like, in thinking about importance. What the f- Okay, I now understand. Okay, apparently. Beefy mole at this guy. Breezy at the back. Okay. Back here, you. Back up. So fun. I got heavily distracted from Collatz Conundrum. I don't even remember where we... Okay. So it goes 1 to a higher 2. No, I'm sorry. 1 to a higher 4 to a lower 2 to a lower 1. It goes 3 to a higher 0, then to 0 or 5. Depending, because 0 is weird. Depending. 4. I'm sorry, 2, 1 or 4. Or something else. 2 can be included later. But if something hits 2, it can only go down to 1. Maybe 2. Yeah, 2 does get included later, I think. Yeah. Because when we get to digits like, because like 11, for instance, and that digit ends in 1. I'm sorry, I forgot. Right. That's an important statement I needed to make. So the distinction in the tens position is to be correct. If the digit in the tens position is divisible by 2, then so if the odd or even in the tens position is what's important. Digits with odd numbers with odd digits in the tens position follow a certain parity, and then numbers with even digits in the tens position follow a different parity along Collatz's conjecture. That's the simplest way of putting it. There are 2 parities that they follow, and in both parities, because you will eventually jump back and forth between those 2, it juggles it around, but it will always go downwards. Long run, there are 15 different arrows that cycle around Collatz's conjecture. There are 15 different possible ways to move. And out of those 15, 1/3 of them are positive, and 2/3 of them are negative. That means you go down 2/3 of the time. You go down 66% of the time that you spend running through the problem. So, I guess what I'm saying is, as long as time spent greater than 60%, 67%, right? And then 27 becomes weird. Like, no matter what, before it hits 421, I think time spent has to be greater than 67% of the number you start with. But that's besides the point, because it's all greater than that with a certain... No, anyway, it is. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter. The only possible ways to move through it are 0 to 0 or 5, 1 to 4 or 2. 1 can connect via 2 or 4, 2 can connect via 4 or 7, because 7 will go to a higher number with 2, but then it'll go to 1, and then it'll go either to a higher 4, no, yeah, to a higher 4, or a higher 4. Well, because 11 hits 34 and goes to 4 and comes from 2. Yeah, that's what I did. 1 goes to 4, comes from 2. 2 goes to 1 and comes from 4 and 7. 3 goes to 0, comes from 6. 4 comes from 8, comes from 1, goes to 2. Where else does 3 come from? Where else does 3 come from? 3 come from anywhere else? 3 goes to 0. It always goes to 0. And it comes from 6. Where else does it come from? Does it come from anywhere else? How would it? Something or something multiplied to 2. Doesn't seem like anyway. I gotta draw the picture. I wanted so bad, and I draw the picture. Start with our, which can go to 2. Sorry, which goes to 4 to there. $13. Oh, is it 3 goes to 7? No, it's not. Is it right? I don't even know. I'm lost. Got myself lost down a fucking rabbit hole again. Like I said, I can't explain it. I told you I can't explain it. I have a picture. I have a picture I drew. That's all I have. It's in that notebook right there, I think. Because again, I drew it multiple places. I had it, but I apparently don't. Okay. So 1 goes to 4, which goes to 2, which goes to 1. Yeah, so 1 goes to a higher 4, which goes to a lower 2, which goes to a lower 1. 2 goes to a lower 1, comes from a lower 4, could come from a lower 7, or, in the case of 12, could go to a lower 6. 3 either goes to a higher number with a 0 in the 1's position, or comes from 3 goes to a higher number with a 0 in the 1's position, and it comes from a number with a 6 in the 1's position that has an even number in the 10's position. 6 with an odd number in the 10's position ends up being a number with a 2 in the 1's position, which cycles the 4-2-1 route with the occasional it comes from 6? Yeah, it comes from 6. And from 7? Is that what it is? Six. 26. No, it always goes to 3. 2 can go to 6. That's what it is. 6 goes to 3. Or 8. That's what. Oh my god. I can't even read this fucking picture. Let's start with 9. 9's simple. 9 goes to a lower 8. Every time. Every single time. No matter what. If 9 comes up in the 1's position, lower 8. To get to 9, come from 8. And it goes to a higher 9. And I think that's the most interesting part of the conjecture. Is 9 goes to 8 and 8 goes to 9. But the thing is, No, that's not even it. I'm wrong about that. 9 goes to higher 8, and 8 goes to a much lower 9. For example, 9 goes up to 28. 28 comes back down. Oh, to 14. Why did I think? Oh, no. How did it cycle through like that? How does 8 go to 9? 18? That's 18 cut in half becomes 9. Similarly, 38 cut in half becomes 19. 58 is 29. So on and so forth. 9 can lead to 8. Or 8 can lead to 9. Similarly, 9 goes to 28. So when you come from 18, you go to 9, and then you go back to 28. That's the only part that's very, very interesting. But 18, 9, 28, 14, 7, 7, 22, 22, 11, 11, 34, 34, 17, 17. Do the math again. 52, 52, 52. I'll say it again for the people in the back. 52. 52 to 26, 26 to 13, 13 to 40, 40 to 20, 20, 10, 10, 5. I just had to demonstrate for you. Anyway, 8 could also go downwards, is the fun fact, to 4. So sometimes that 9 will hit an 8 that leads to a 4. It wouldn't lead back to 9. Usually, it's every other time, really. I don't think it's like... Anyway. Point is, there are 15 arrows. There are 15 different ways to cycle through. It leads downwards. It's on a downward trajectory every time. There's never a time that it leads infinitely upwards. No matter how many times you follow the trail. You don't have to... You can use fake number infinite gazillion, but it has a 9 in the ones position no matter what. Fake number infinite gazillion could have an 8 in the ones position. It doesn't matter what infinity gazillion is, as long as you know what the ones position is, and rather or not it's basically move a decimal point. How would I move a decimal point? Divide it by 10? Divide it by 10, check, multiply it by 10, and do the math. Basically, it's a check of, does it have a digit? Yeah, okay, well then, it's true. It follows. There's nothing about it that they can be proven wrong. You can look forever and ever, you're never going to find proof that it's wrong. You need to prove it true. So you need to prove that it, I prove it true. I got so distracted with this that I stopped playing RuneScape. Gotta prove it true. Gotta prove it true. It's true. Collatz is true. I'm definitely not uploading this to YouTube.